All right, welcome back. This is session 2, and we have talked about cheese, and I hope that you found that helpful. It's now time to talk about our traditions. And what I want to address with you tonight is taking a thoughtful look at our traditions. Traditions are the repetitive ways that we uniquely celebrate a holiday in our own family or in our own home or in even our extended family. And if you think of traditions like your closet, what happens is over time, we gather up a lot of different traditions, and then without meaning to, it can just become this really crowded, disorganized space that feels stressful instead of open and welcoming. Part of being a mom in a home is you are the keeper of the traditions for your family, for the most part. I know that other people play a role in our traditions, of course they do, but there's something about a mother's role in her home that I have always just sort of seen as the keeper of the traditions. You get to lead your family, you get to set the tone. For the most part, sometimes you're the one making the decisions about how these traditions are going to be assimilated into your family's holiday. And with that comes the responsibility of taking a thoughtful look from time to time at your traditions. I call this doing a tradition audit. Now, if that sounds a little like taxish or too black and white, just hang with me, because the idea of auditing is a thoughtful, intentional way to look at what you're doing and why you're doing it, with the goal of creating as much connection and openness in your family as possible. If you're like me, what tends to happen is we say yes because there are so many good options out there. We have so many ideas in front of us, and they're all really good. The problem is we cannot say yes to them all and still have connection and breathing room with our family. This is the number one reason most of us feel stressed around the holidays, is because we step into December and all of a sudden there are 10 times as many obligations and responsibilities and expectations on us to celebrate in these particular ways, and we want to provide traditions that are meaningful for our family, and somehow along the way we wake up and it's just a crowded space. It's noisy, it's stressful, and all we want to do is get through the holidays. How many of you have said that? I just need to get through the holidays. The holidays are a wonderful time of connection with your family. Getting through them is not an ideal way to celebrate. What would it look like if you and your family had an anticipatory attitude about the traditions, because each one was special and it wasn't an overcrowded closet full of things you may not even like to wear? What if each tradition was really special, really intentional, and really life-giving to you and your family? If that sounds too good to be true, hang with me. I'm gonna walk us through 3 steps to auditing our traditions, with the idea and the goal being to create traditions that our family looks forward to and to allow space instead of stress. All right, let's dive into our tradition audit. We're going to ask 3 questions, and if you want to grab a pen and a piece of paper, it might be helpful. If not, I'm sure you can swing back and have access to this video and do this at your own pace. The first question that you need to ask yourself is, it's very simple, but it's very crucial. How do you celebrate? How do you celebrate? When you think of the holiday season, and pick honestly any holiday, it doesn't just have to be the ones in December. This can apply to any yearly holiday, whether it's birthdays, anniversaries, Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving, Halloween, but particularly those December-based holidays that tend to get crowded. How do you celebrate? Take a moment and list every single repetitive thing that you do on a yearly basis to celebrate this holiday. If you're like me, celebrating the holiday is not just about the actual day. In my family, we celebrate Christmas, and Christmas is not just Christmas. Christmas begins when we're done with Thanksgiving and we decorate a tree, and even decorating a tree is like broken down into 2 or 3 different steps. We have to go get the tree, we have to bring it home. Then we put lights on it, we put lights on the house. Then we decorate the tree as a family with our ornaments. It's a long, drawn out process. It takes a couple of days. And then there are things like school programs, decorating gingerbread houses, advent calendars, buying gifts for teachers, stockings, special meals, going to see the Nutcracker, Elf on the Shelf, and then of course, Christmas Eve, Christmas morning, Christmas night, and all that goes with that. Write down every single thing that your family does to celebrate the holiday. You might be shocked at how many things are there, and that's okay. We're gonna work through it. But the first step is to take an honest look and an accurate assessment of exactly what it is that falls into and under the umbrella of traditions in your family. Don't hold anything back, put it all out there. And once you've done that, take an honest look at it. We're gonna move on to question number 2. Okay, with your list in front of you, question 2 is, what are the non-negotiables? What are the things on this list that without a doubt are hard yeses? Absolutely. I can't imagine celebrating without it. One non-holiday example that I'm going to give you is birthdays. If you had a list of things that you did to celebrate birthdays, I'm sure one of them might include a birthday cake. There might be a lot of other things floating around there. But in my book, a birthday cake is a non-negotiable. We are going to have a birthday cake. We're not going to delete that from our traditions. Birthday cake stays. We love it. The candles, the pictures, the singing. Birthday cake. That's a hard yes. Look at your list of traditions related to whatever holiday you celebrate, and pretty instantly the ones that are like non-negotiables for you and your family will become apparent. And I would highlight those. I would get a highlighter or a marker and circle them and somehow delineate what those are. You might be surprised how many of them are not life-giving traditions, and that is okay. You don't have to share your list with anybody. This is between you and the paper. It's okay if some of these yearly traditions are not your favorite. Do you know which one of mine was not one of my favorites? It was Elf on the Shelf. We started Elf on the Shelf, and I wish we had not, because it created a sense of nightly stress in our home and awkward explanations the morning after of why the elf hadn't moved. Elf on the Shelf did not give me life. My kids liked it, but kids like a lot of things. I, as the keeper of the tradition, decided to shift our focus, and we kind of phased out Elf on the Shelf. We didn't rip him away suddenly, but we phased him out, and it was one of the better decisions our family made. Now, when you look at your list, I want you to look for the ones that are life-giving, that when you see it, you're excited, you can't wait. It's worth the energy. It's worth the time. When you get finished celebrating that tradition, you're filled with a sense of, so glad we did that. It was worth it. Those are the ones that you want to highlight. Now, here is a real-life disclaimer. There are going to be some traditions on your list that are non-negotiable, but that are out of your control. A lot of these have to do with extended family gatherings and expectations of others. That just comes with the territory. You may have to attend a work party, whether you like it or not, and suck it up. That's part of your holiday tradition. There are some holiday traditions that we cannot control, and yet they are also non-negotiable. We don't get to edit out large family gatherings just because they're not our favorite, or we don't get to edit out attending that mandatory work party just because we don't want to. There are some traditions that we do have to kind of participate in whether we like it or not. I'm talking about the ones that we in our home choose to engage in. Things like decorating Christmas cookies, or going to see the Nutcracker, or participating in giving gifts to our neighbors, or the list is extensive. You know it. I don't have to spell it out for you. But when you look at your traditions, find the ones that make your heart really excited to celebrate and highlight those. That is going to get us ready for question number 3. As we look at our list of traditions, And as we look at the ones that we've highlighted, the next question and the final question is, what can we embrace and what can we edit? What can we embrace and what can we edit? Those traditions that made your heart light up, that just were instantly yeses, that you can't imagine the holiday without them, you need to hold those close. You need to embrace those for the life-giving, connected tradition that they are. Those are the things that are worth keeping. And it's not just a matter of keeping them, it's a matter of focusing time and energy on them because they bring something to your family that is bigger than just what they appear on the surface. That there's a progression over time that makes them sweeter, or there is a payoff that is just fantastic, or it aligns with your values of the direction you want your family to head. And it's not frivolous or just added stress or just because. You're not going through the motions. Embrace those traditions. Make a big deal out of them. Focus on them. Communicate with your children why this is so important. And you need to just make them a priority. Then you're going to look and see, what can I edit? And I use the word edit because there are some traditions that, like I said, you won't be able to delete, even if they're not your favorites. And then there are some that you may realize, oh, this is not serving our family, and oh, this just adds stress, and it's not as important as the other ones. These are the ones that we're going to edit. You may not be able to just cold turkey end it this year, but what you can start to do is by focusing on the other ones that are life-giving, you can start to diminish the other ones, and then maybe next year you diminish it more, and then maybe they have just kind of gone by the wayside. Some of these are easier to do than others, and a lot of times your children will let you know their displeasure over changing traditions. But remember, your children are not the deciders in your family. You are. And you, as an adult, get to steer the direction of your family and the way that you celebrate holidays. Keep at the forefront of your mind this vision of a spacious, connected holiday instead of a stressful season that you just get through. We are aiming to make time for our family in ways that allow us to celebrate, allow us to connect, but do not just add frivolous activities that we would rather do without. I hope this exercise has been helpful for you, and I hope that this year is a turning point for you and your family as you choose carefully how you celebrate.